Incel-friendly. Have you ever seen a movie that has been so incel-friendly before as Chainsaw Man Reze ever on? This video is so incel-friendly that even Power subscribed. Seriously? This is the worst review that I read this year. And that says a lot, right? With all these crazy, cringe reviews we keep getting in any kind of domain, right? Video games, movies, anime, whatever, right? This is the worst one, okay? This reviewer is purely focused on saying that Chainsaw Man, right, is a manosphere, like Andrew Tate change. It's this really weird thing that it's incredible. It's incredibly bad. And I am 100% sure, okay? This reviewer, Mike, has never actually seen the first show, right? He hasn't seen a season, and his show has read a manga. Like, it really reminds me of last year when Wukong had his reviews saying that there's no women, right, in Wukong. That the game is like 0 10. But there's no, women at all in the game, right? And the reviewer, she hadn't even like gotten to the second stage in the game. Or at least maybe in the beginning of stage 2, but she hadn't beaten it. So sure, there's no women in the beginning of the game, right? But if you actually play the game, it's a bunch of female characters. And I bring it up because I think it's really important, right? That just as we make fun of and ridicule people like TheAnimeMen that are lying about enjoying anime, and actually half of the guys don't even like anime, right? The whole tourist thing or whatnot, right? Just like talk about that stuff, they have to also call out these ridiculous reviewers that not only do they not like this kind of anime, right? They haven't even seen it the first season, right? It's kind of like going to Harry Potter, reviewing the 9th movie, not having seen, movie 8, 7, whatever, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? It's just ridiculous. So I'll go back to the article, I'm gonna show you guys. But it is ridiculously badly written, and it just shows you that the author doesn't care at all about the stuff, right? Never enjoyed anime. It's clearly like just a tourist, but like grift or whatever, right? It's just writing for The Guardian just to get, we have to write about this famous movie right now because it's trending, right? And this person is not better, right, than any ridiculous YouTube grifter streamer complaining about whatever, right? Not actually enjoying stuff, having no actual knowledge or whatever about the topic at hand. There might be some spoilers here. I read it briefly before as well, so I'm giving you a warning, guys. But this article is so badly written that they barely even cover any of the storyline. So, but it is minor spoiler warnings. But obviously, it's like, yeah, he's gonna fight the bomb girl, right? So you know what I mean. But anyway, let's go down here. So the important part here, right, is first of all, this is what they do, and I want to be very, very clear, right? This is what we've seen exactly. Like I mentioned, Wukong and similar stuff that they hate, right? The first paragraphs tends to be very much just like, here's a summary, right? No one that actually is into this stuff needs to read the first bit. It's like Demon Slayer has money, this is guy article, this is famous anime, right? No one that actually is into this anime needs to read this thing. And it's important to remember that because, like I said, this is, of course, not a standalone movie, right? I could understand this text a little bit more if this, again, right, was a completely, standalone, nothing is before, right? But as we know, of course, Chainsaw Man is obviously coming exactly after the ending of last season, right? So anyone that's actually genuinely interested in going to this until, right, have very likely, of course, seen the first season. So you really care about just the general summary or whatnot, right? It really should be like, should I watch if I like this one, right? Or perhaps, of course, if this guy wrote a much more in-depth article about Chainsaw Man and then the movie itself, and saying that yes, this movie is awesome, you should first watch or read the one and then go see it, blah 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 blah. Then I would buy it, right? But this guy just hates it. So the first part is just, again, this is very much very classic tourist review when they just I'm just gonna pretend to care. It's like just a synapse, whatever, right? And it's just a way to obviously bloat the text and get words out, like I do right now. Just to get words out, right? Used to it's like 500 words, it's like whatever, right? Used to have some quota for most words or whatever, which is so ridiculous. So anyway, the first bit is completely, it's nothing new there, right? Then we get, the Fallout, the dopey slacker. So this is kind of where we have immediately, this doesn't make any sense, right? So DENJI is not a slacker, right? This is what someone writes that hates men, right? No, but seriously, this person just hates men because DENJI is basically, spoilers that if you haven't seen this first season, right? But I assume you see people might have seen DENJI and push it and so forth, right? So anyway, Denji is not a slacker because he basically is this poor kid, with dead parents or whatnot, right? Someone has to kill him, he has to survive that, and he gets the power of the Pushita Chainsaw. Then he fights demons, right? He fights monsters, and he gets hired by Makima, and they work for the government to fight monsters. He's never a slacker, right? Denji's never a slacker. He's a young guy having a lot of trauma, and he actually has a job. So he actually is not a slacker. And sure, he's kind of forced into the job, and he's obviously motivated by some pies or whatnot, or titties, right? But again, he's actually a slacker. Like, it's making no sense. This is this very common way, I think, that a person that has no understanding of anime, that hates, masculine animes, right? That hates characters like Denji, they just have this, it's a very, westernized viewpoint, right? This person is 100% verified a tourist. They're viewing it in, an American dad lens, right? Or a Family Guy, a Homer lens, right? They're kind of saying that, well, yeah, look at this Denji guy. He's like the evil male main character. He's a slacker dude. Where Reze and Makima are powerful, strong, independent women, right? This guy does nothing. He's just lying on the couch, They're gonna have their take on it because they're just assuming, right, that a cartoon, an anime is a cartoon, right? They're assuming that then he has to be like Homer Simpson because he's the the male leader. I mean, I'm not kidding. I think that's really what it's coming from. And the text is like, they go skinny dipping, and it's two gals and whatever, right? Yeah, it doesn't really explain. Sorry, it doesn't really explain anything much there, right? But I really think it's important to understand that this is just this very, very, I don't actually have no clue what the anime is about, right? And honestly, when I read this part here, I almost wonder if the person has even seen the movie. This is the trailer. Yeah, it's like Denji is fighting with the shark dude, and the bomb lady is exploding. Okay, this is the first trailer, right? You have to actually wonder. I keep saying it, but it's so manic and everything. But with wukong, for example, right? You're like, wait, this person didn't even play the game, right? Yeah. We had it very recently with Silk Song, with Silent Hill F. There's a bunch of games where I've seen this thing where the reviewer clearly haven't beaten the game, right? This is not a bad review of Chainsaw Man that I'm genuinely wondering if they even saw the movie. They watched a trailer for a minute, wrote the review, and got paid $50 right there. Because this is just the most basic shark, bob, girl explodes, chainsaws, right? It is what you see in the trailer. There is no actual explanation of the personality or the traits or the drama or nothing, right? And then of course the next part they're coming to. Okay, so now we get to the best part. Now, this is the worst review I read this year in all different genres, manga, anime, video games, right? And that says a lot. So this reviewer now from The Guardian is like, man is male-oriented. From Denji's fantasies about races to, it's almost turning into corno, Oh my god. And then it's like, what a rush, he squeaks. It is incel-friendly in the legacy. It's so incel-friendly, guys. Yes, it's incel-friendly. Yeah, power is described, man. It's incel-friendly. It's, such a joke, right? In so many ways. But it's kind of hilarious, right? I'm laughing at it, right? First and foremost, what I'm reacting to here is that this author, right, doesn't know anything about the anime. They've never seen the show, right? Because why would you say Yoshihara here? Yoshihara is the director, and I mean, he does a fine job. It's a great movie, right? But the thing is that Yoshihara, why would you write that, right? If you actually wrote about Chainsaw Man, wouldn't you write about the actual manga author, right? Wouldn't you use his name instead? Wouldn't you say that this author of the actual book or whatever doesn't shy about showing tits or whatever? Because what I've heard, right, because I haven't read the manga, so correct me if I'm wrong here, the Reze scene is actually censored, right? Yeah. So if anything, Yoshihara does actually shy away, right? Because the scene actually is censored in the movie compared to the manga. That's what I read at least, and it's probably true. So they probably even censored some titties or whatever, right, in that movie, to maybe have it on the big screen, right? So it's just kind of funny when this guy is like, he doesn't shy away from it, right? But honestly, this person writing this stuff probably doesn't even know that it is a manga, right, to be read before the thing is compared to. And again, of course, I haven't actually seen the one, right? Now, this is a weird article. The article actually ends here, okay? I'm sure it's thought it's going to be like a 10-page article, right? But this is basically what they say, right? So first they have a paragraph of like, this is the, the production company or whatever, right? His Demon Slayer or whatever, right? That's like half the article. There's a little bit of like, it's like a slacker dude and do shit, right? And then the end is just a paragraph of how it's male-oriented, and it's an incel. It's a movie for incels, you know? Goddamn men! And they have a little points of like, oh yeah, like this movie is, selling well because the West has stopped making movies for men. That's a good thing, because goddamn you incels, right? That's kind of this review, right? Nothing more is said here. And I want to show you the Swedish review that I think is hilarious, okay? It's very, very similar. So this is a review of the hamburger place, right? Five Guys. And this author, she really, really hates men. This is hilarious, okay? So I know this is Swedish. It's like last year. But it reminds me so much of the thing. Because she basically keeps calling it an incel burger place. Like, it's hilarious. Like, it's so stupid. I know it's Swedish. I'm trying to guys. Obviously, get me wrong, you guys. But it is just so stupid. It's so stupid. You see here, right? Men. That's, of course, men, right? In Swedish. So the author is like, oh yeah, Five Guys, it's like a place aiming at, like me and Lars, like it's Swedish for incel, or like pointless man, or basically like men that has no future, right? She's like, yeah, these Five Guys are trying to attract, men that has no purpose in life, men that are unemployed and so on. Yeah, they're all queuing outside here for the new Five Guy place because they're all unemployed, right? This is the weirdest article ever. She's there, right? For Expressen, this newspaper in Sweden. She's there to review a hamburger joint. Five Guys, I've eaten there. I think it's pretty good, but it's very expensive. But her whole article is how much she hates men and how they're all incels. Every man that eats on this joint are incels, okay? I know it's Swedish, but you should read the article, it's crazy. And then there's some hatred towards America, as we respect, right, She's like, it's like sexually cut like an American hot. It's really weird, honestly. It's just really weird. I remember reading this thing, right, social media last year, and it's just the weirdest thing ever, right? Again, the woman is there, right? This highly overpaid article writer, journalist, right, is there to review the first Five Guys opening in Stockholm, in Sweden in total, then. And half the article is about her hating on men. Yeah, it's like, yeah, men are disgusting. There's so many men, there's so many incels in this restaurant, whatever, right? And she hates America. Like 2 paragraphs here, hating on America. Here's another one, oh, it gives me that like old American 90 vibe. It's like, oh, it's disgusting, and yeah, it's like USA, and it's all this really weird. It's so weird. It's so weird. My other point of view is exactly like this change from article, right? The author just hates men, right? It hates anything modern. It hates anything that is, how can I say it, right? Male-oriented, or classic stuff like action movies, tits and ass or whatnot, right? Anything that is, like the men likes, right? And I mean, seriously, right? Half this article on the garden here is just hating on like men, right? Like incel something. I mean, it's so weird. The whole thing, right? It doesn't even review the story or anything. It just says like, oh yeah, this like incel dude, and he's a slacker, and he's lazy, someone. He fights his waifu, and that's it, right? Doesn't even explain that it's happening. And he spends half the article is hating on men. It's so weird, and it's so unfortunate. I mean, normally I would say you shouldn't trust the reviewer's so to speak, right? But seriously, All Rotten Tomato, Chainsaw Man has 100% fresh, right? 99% of the fans. And I do think that if both of these scores are very, very high, then it's either they bought everyone, right, or it's probably universally beloved, right? So it's very, very funny when one guy is like, 3 out of 10, incel movie, yeah. He's like, I am unique. It might be that too. I want to stick out. I want to rage bait, right? And I even showed this thing here. Even IGN gives it 7 out of 10. It means like nothing, right? There's like a 0 from IGN. But no, but seriously, even IGN is like, well, I guess it's good enough. We hate it though. We hate everything it stands for, but let's pretend that it is pretty good, yeah. Now lastly, I just have to explain, I suppose, how DENJI is not an incel. It seems silly to have to do that, but DENJI is basically like the opposite of an incel. So it's just so funny and sad in a way, right? I know we call him an incel. So, first of all, what is an incel? Obviously, the word keeps changing, and mostly now just means any man I hate, right? But, the definition basically is a man that can't get laid, right? A man that is angry at women for not doing X, Y, or Z, and basically doing nothing to change or improve their life, right? Typical incel is a man that, doesn't improve at all, yet demands women to like him, right? DENJI is the opposite. DENJI keeps fighting, Sure, he wants to get laid with Makima or whatever, right? But he keeps trying to do his best. He keeps helping other people, right? He keeps trying to improve. Like, that immediately is very not incel, right? And, even more importantly, Denji never blames any woman for not liking him, or only getting a kiss, or only getting this or that, right? Denji is very thankful, very grateful for any woman that likes him, for kissing him, whatever, any woman gives him affection. He's very, very happy. He's very, genuinely, he's like, oh my god, I can't believe you kissed me. I'm so happy, but a nice woman, right? He never, like, demands anything from the woman, right? And rather, it's the ladies, right? They're pushing their agenda on him, you know what I mean? So, it is so silly to call Denji an incel, where he's more or less the opposite of an incel. A guy that is very nice to women, and I guess he wants to have, intercourse, but he really is grateful, right, for everything he gets, right? And like I said too, I think a big part of being an incel is basically never improving, right? You're staying in your mom's basement, never getting a job, you know what I mean? Never getting stronger, never getting better, never getting smarter, whatever, so forth, right? Then he does all of that stuff, right? It's so ridiculous. I mean, immediately in the storyline, he goes from, living in poor, gets a suit, and all that stuff, improves his hygiene, trains more, etc. Point, it's just ridiculous, right? The whole thing is so ridiculous. But that is why the author shouldn't be allowed to write animes. It's so stupid. That everyone can pay for that, right? That a news article site can pay for that. It's just embarrassing, right? It's truly, truly embarrassing. But yeah, it's the worst article I read this year. That says a lot. Anyway, guys, hope you will subscribe. Please like button have a great day.